It's showtime, everybody. Nathan,
what is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the KNF Connection. I'm just one of your co-hosts because we got multiple. We got Ryan Espy. We got my man Nathan, Nate the Great in the house. Tim is en route, driving to Washington, so I don't think he'll be joining us, but who knows?
If he does, it'll be in a vehicle. It'll be spotty. And just want to start off by saying that we have the Canadian Nationals this weekend. And it's the only national championships in our great country of Canada.
You really want to go there, don't you?
And
shots fired.
Possibly. And we are a neutral organization, meaning we are nonpartisan between IFA and WAF. We all have our opinions, but as an organization, we do not really have a side here yet. And yet we will still have the biggest national championships potentially of all time.
And that's Quebec?
That's in Quebec, and it's going to be like, I mean, if Quebec provincials are any indication, with over 600 athletes, this could be well over 1,000 entries at this.
So how do you squeeze that into 4 days?
2 days, Jody. 2 days. So we have Saturday, and I'm refereeing the whole thing. So we are going to be exhausted. So Friday night, we got the AGM, which I'm chairing because I'm the president. Mm-hmm. Saturday, we've got Masters, Grandmasters, Ultra Grand, if they're there, I don't even know. Youth, disabled, all those classes, right, left, men's, women's, whatever. And then at the end of that, we have the referee clinic. And then Sunday, we have all of the senior classes, all of them.
Isn't that when you guys have your Hall of Fame ceremony also?
Yes, that gets worked into the day. And
are you allowed to say who's in it this year?
Well, not yet.
Oh.
Well, I'm allowed. Look who's joining us here.
What's up, fellas? How's it going?
What's up? What's up?
How's it going?
I had to sneak away.
What are you sneaking away from?
Oh, you know, just the normal 9 to 5. I'm welding up some stuff right now, and we're building some stuff. We have a brand new like cold plunge area for our gym here, so we're building some privacy walls and whatnot. So, but that's not the important news. The important news is that I am on the show right now, and I'm super excited about things that are happening in arm wrestling. How are you guys doing?
Yes, we're doing good, man. I'm glad you're on the show because now you've been putting out some great information, some content on your video about the Arnold and some of the qualifiers that's been announced and stuff. Is there anything else you also want to go ahead and tell the show and everybody in the chat about what's the latest and greatest?
So, well, of course, we are obviously bringing arm wrestling back to the Arnold Classic, including the left arm, which I know, Ryan, you hold near and dear. So we thought that was extremely important, bringing in the left arm. And Arnold's coming back. We are going to be having the entire tournament on Friday in the Expo at our 10x30 booth. It's going to be the biggest production you've ever seen at the Arnold, just like you see at our pay-per-views. We're going to have Sandell Sound in the house doing all that type of stuff. So all prelims will be going on Friday. Saturday, we have 2 hours on the main stage, right arm, left arm, top 4, award presentations and everything like that. But then also for the rest of Saturday and Sunday, we are working on putting together super matches, possibly some round robins as well with some of the best pullers in the world. So all the stars are starting to align, and we have qualifiers across the United States, working on one in Canada as well. And we have Japan is locked in, Korea is locked in, we're working on the Philippines, working on Puerto Rico, working on Poland, possibly one in Italy as well. So yeah, it's pretty wild. We're super excited about it, but yeah, it's been absolutely nuts. The sea of purple is coming, and it's a tsunami.
Purple rain, let's go.
Exactly.
I'll tell you what, Will, everyone's asking me, are you holding the Arnold qualifier? And my answer is yes. Yes. We're just ironing out the details. So
I was going to ask if you spoke with like Billy down to have one in Texas or not.
Yeah, we actually were just talking with Texas. I believe it was 2 days ago, and finalizing details for Texas as well.
Gotcha.
Yep. So states that we do have confirmed in the U.S. PA is locked in. New Jersey will be us. New York, Washington State. Texas is just about on the way. We're possibly doing something in the Indiana, Michigan region, and then possibly something down in the Florida region as well. So we have about, I think it's now we're around 7 or 8, including the international ones that are locked in, and then a few more. But what we're basically doing is it's basically geographical, right? So we don't want to take up, opportunities from these promoters to make sure people come to their tournaments. So it is a little more saturated, but obviously per capita in the New York, New Jersey, tri-state area, it's okay that we have a little bit closer of tournaments, and then we spread it across the U.S. and we're going international as well.
Yeah.
So there's been some questions out there that I've been answering for you, but since I have you on, or we have you on, could you verify? So some of the questions where they heard that, hey, if I win my class at the Arnold, does that mean I have a scheduled future appearance at the Knuckles Up? And I said, yeah, based on what you guys had talked about, And the other question some people were asking was that, would that affect are you guys still planning on having your event come September 14th?
Yeah, about September 14th. Of course it's still happening. What the hell is wrong with you people? We're having September 14th, Knuckles Up 4. It's coming at you bigger and fucking better than ever before. But yes, if you win your class at the Arnold Classic on the right arm, we are 100% guaranteeing you a match at a future card. The left arm as well, but just with the caveat of it's a little bit harder to find left arm super matches. So, yes, you will get a spot on a future card. It just may take a little bit longer for the left arm. So we get a proper match for you, because as you guys all know, the one thing that the High Five does better than everybody is we get good matchups. It's not just about it's the best person in the world. It's a great match to watch. So if you win your right arm class, no problem. We will definitely get you a super match on a future Knuckles Up card. And then on the left arm, we will do our damnedest to do that as well.
I have a question.
Yes.
Weight classes, I'm assuming it's 54, 76, 98, 20, 42, and supers for men, or are there other weight classes for men?
We have added one extra weight class. It is the 275-pound class. We feel very strongly that, for the direction that the world of arm wrestling is moving, we have bigger and more massive gentlemen coming in, by the day. My background being in strongman and powerlifting, there's a 275-pound class and a 308. I don't think the 308 is necessary at the moment. If the sport grows to that much of a pool of athletes, sure. But when you have someone, for example, who weighs, let's say, just 255, and they just, they're ripped, they're solid, they just can't get down to 242.
Yeah.
When they're pulling against somebody who's 420 pounds, it's just kind of a disparity, right? So, I think that is the best route to go and the best round to take. So, yes, we will be adding a 275-pound class. And then for the ladies, it's 154 and 154 plus.
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask that one, too, about the ladies.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, fellas? Thanks for having us.
We got both of you. That's great.
Able to sneak away for lunch, too, myself.
I want to ask you guys a question. I missed that middle class. So it was 275, and then what is the lower class just below that?
242.
242.
242.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does it go all the way to 198 after that, or is it a 221 class?
220, right?
Yeah.
20. Yep.
So your standard weight classes in North America plus a 275.
Correct. Yep.
I've been seeing some of the promotional materials come out for the qualifiers already, so it's looking really good.
Yeah.
I obviously have nationals this weekend, so you guys won't hear from me until next week, but we'll nail down that date. And that date is looking good because, there's so much arm wrestling in our area that it has been impossible to try to find anything between August and November that works. So we're looking at December.
Awesome. No, that's perfect. Right before we kind of close it down and we lock in all the people that are qualified.
Exactly.
So you say you're doing top 3, correct?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Gentlemen, I'm going to leave you in the hands of Chris. I do have to run back to work. I just want to say I love everything you guys are doing. Keep crushing it. We'll be in touch. I'll talk to you guys soon, all right?
All right,
Thank
see
you,
you,
everybody.
Will.
Have a good day.
And there he goes.
Yeah. But,
In and out.
What else you got to tell us about the Arnold Classic coming up, Chris? Anything we might not already know?
I'm trying to think. So I think just to clarify some stuff for what Will was saying in terms of what we have locked in. So Virginia Arm Wrestling League, they're the main point of contacts for their qualifiers. I believe they have one coming up, I believe in either August or September, another one in November. And then Tri-State Arm Wrestling is going to be the one up in upstate New York. And then we also have the one in PA in September. And like Will had mentioned, we're trying to lock in Florida. That's hopefully around the corner as well. They're trying to finalize date and league for that. And then Texas, I believe, if everything kind of goes through, it's going to be, I think, Texas States. That's in November. So yeah, we're trying to kind of hit like the major markets, like in the Midwest, like cover the East Coast, and then obviously working our way to the West Coast as well. So couldn't be more excited. And I think aside from what we'll mention on the international level, we're working on Bulgaria is another one there. I think he already mentioned Japan, Korea, and Poland. But yeah, we're trying to spread out as much as we can, and we really couldn't do it without the support of all the promoters, right? Everyone kind of reaching out, saying that they want to be part of it. And again, we tell them all the time, right? Not that we necessarily perfected the pay-per-view, but that's kind of more in our wheelhouse. And we realize that from a tournament perspective, that's kind of what they do all the time and what they're good at, such as yourself, Ryan. So it would be hard for us to kind of flip the switch and immediately try to do two things at once. We figured, why not get the community involved? And you guys are already doing it great. Why not just kind of collaborate with everyone in the community?
Yeah,
Nice.
no, I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Has there been any word about a second Canadian qualifier?
Not yet. We are in talks with some people, possibly closer to the Ottawa area.
Like
But-
Eric or something? Like Eric
Yeah.
Gibson?
Possibly in like the Table Monkeys, like with Alex and them and Constantine. So yeah.
That would
So
be a
are
good
you
one.
able not to shift gears for a second because hey, Knuckles Up 4 will be here before you know it. Are you even allowed to even elaborate on the card, or are we still keeping that in the wraps?
So I mean, for the most part, you guys know what, like half of the card because of what we announced at the event itself.
Right.
Sorry, Brian, you can say something?
No, I was just going to get you to remind us because we knew that if a puller won this match, they had this guy lined up.
Yep.
So can you remind us about who those matches are that are coming up?
Yep, exactly. So essentially who we have confirmed, Mario Tambakis is going to be pulling Plemen Dimitrov. Then you have Beck that just beat Tom Holland. He's going to be pulling Setfan Kashevsky. Then you also have what's his name? Maharengi Hetamoris. Sorry, it's a long name that I have to kind of recite in my head, but he's going to be pulling Toshiyuki Shishido, the number one from Japan that just beat the number one from Korea. And I want to say for now, those are the only ones that we've actually announced, but we have a card roughly around like the 8 or 9 range. And there's some really good matches. We're talking about some world champions coming out from the dark, and it's going to be pretty sick. Some big names as well. So we should have that coming out probably in the next few weeks. Yeah.
Nice.
Recently I have seen some videos of Yoshi Kanai.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any chance we can get him to make a comeback at this point?
So I've been trying my best. I've been talking with my guy Levi over there in Japan with Savage Arm Wrestling. Unfortunately, what I've been hearing is he has some issues. I want to say in his spine. So he still practices and tries to give back to the community there in Japan. Yeah, but if he stresses too hard, like especially at a competitive level, and obviously he's pulled with like John Brzenk and some of the greats, right? For him to be at that same level, it's almost dangerous to his health. So again, I don't want to push him too much either. I'd love to even just get him as like a guest. I still remember him from pulling John and, seeing him on that. So yeah, it'd be tough. I think I remember just a few weeks ago, he was there was a Georgian festival in Japan, and he tried to pull with some of even just the Japanese athletes, and you could tell kind of the grimace on his face when he was pulling too much. So yeah, unfortunately.
I can relate to that one.
It's interesting. I will tell you that the first time I ever saw Yoshi Kanai pull was 1998 World Championships in Thunder Bay, Ontario, and he was 176.
That's crazy.
And Marcio was, I think, 187.
What? That's even crazier. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
You see, that was back when, if you were born like a big guy with a big structure, that's where you were at. Other than that, you were like, because you got to remember back in the Ryan, you would remember this back in the day, the Zloty Cup, right? Nemirov, and you had guys like Ron Bath and John Brzenk pull 209. So, and Ron Bath, I don't know if he can make 209 anymore, but
open the fridge.
That's what it was. You know what I mean? So, but now fast forward to like decades later, and it's almost like that guy's getting big. That guy's getting big. Should I keep up? Is bigger better? And it kind of just goes every which way. But yeah, I mean, we're at that this stage now in the sport.
I want to go back and just talk about a couple of these matches because Shishido against Meadow Arangi, that's super interesting because I have no idea what the levels are of these two guys on the right hand. I would have to assume that Meadow Arangi would have the power advantage.
Yeah, and that's what we've been trying to tell Toshi as well, right? Because again, being in Japan and kind of being closed off from the rest of the world, obviously by design, but we're warning him, like, dude, again, and we talked to, again, a lot of the Australian athletes as well when we're doing our research in terms of like matchup, what would make sense. And that's essentially how we set up Knuckles Up 3, right? We knew that there were names that some people weren't aware of, right? When we had Ji-Hyun pull Toshi, obviously, no one outside of Japan or Korea possibly will know them. But that's kind of the purpose of them pulling each other, to kind of give people a gauge of like, all right, just see the level of competitiveness that they have. And then also for us to say, all right, we know that Ji-Hyun had previously pulled Schoolboy, for example, and everybody knows where Schoolboy's at and how that match went. All right, cool. So Toshi just dominated, in his match. And I think stylistically it's cool as well because Toshi has shown that he can pull without his hand. Really great side pressure, where Hetamura is more open top roll, kind of climbing using that brachialis power, right? So it is interesting. I'm curious how it's going to go myself.
Well, he's going to have trouble holding on to the peg after I'm done with his left arm a week earlier.
I was just about to say that's another exciting match I'm curious about too. That's going to be awesome. That's a really cool card too. I've been seeing all the matches kind of roll out for that.
Yeah, it has now been finalized. With Danielle Evenson.
Yes,
the final announced match. I think.
So
I think
cool.
It was the final one.
Yeah, I think just got posted like yesterday. Yeah.
The Plowman match is very intriguing.
Oh against.
Is there a weight cap on that match?
So no, we talked to Plemon again. He's kind of like, all right, I'm down for. That's essentially how a lot of those matches were. They're like, all right, I'll take whoever and anyone, and we're like, all right, if you say so, we'll set up a match and see who wins, right? We're thinking. We're thinking for Mario again. That's why I think it'll be a little bit closer. Again, I think if Mario had to also cut again to what he did for Merlot, it would be really tough for him. Yeah. But I think he's going to come in a little bit heavier, maybe closer to like the 210 or 220, max. Yeah.
Nothing against Merlot, but Plowman is a different animal.
Yeah, and the reasoning or rationale for that, right, is when we were setting up that match, we're thinking, all right, we kind of knew ahead of time, right, that Plowman was going to be the next kind of big step for either of them. And we said, all right, when it came to that matchup, we knew that Mario had tons of horsepower. But in terms of being tested from like a table IQ standpoint, we couldn't really gauge if he was able to work with a tactician like Plowman. Vice versa, when we work with Merlot, we knew that, seeing him pull like a guy like Tom Holland and working all these different angles he's not used to, he definitely knows how to work the strategy, but does he have the horsepower, to compete with somebody like Plowman that's obviously, a world champ. So yeah, I think it was exciting, and I think they proved that they could make those adjustments. So we'll see.
I think Mario showed a lot too at Arizona by beating, with his matches with Raymond Zantanovich and Arson and stuff like that. Like, I repped all those finals matches, and he definitely showed a lot.
Yep, completely agree. And we were talking to him when we were dropping him off at the airport. He is ready. He's like, this guy is on my bucket list to kind of take down, and he's going to do everything he can to be ready. So, yeah, we've been warming plumbing too, but he's kind of like, I know I'm the champ, so let's see what he got. You know, he has to prove it.
If you look at the way Plowman did Brandon L. Sessler, I mean, it's like, Jesus.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. And Brandon's no joke either. I saw him at the MAC competition too, and he's super strong. Yeah.
And then Sveton, I mean, have fun with that one.
Well, I was just thinking about that. Does Beck understand that he is how to pull against that type of an arm wrestler?
Yeah. So funny enough, they actually pulled already in I want to say it's Jakarta. Is it almost not a year ago? It was around KU2. So when he came over to pull Ryan, he was already telling us like that, because they had a really long match, and that's why we thought it was going to be good, because when Setvon pulled Craig, it was kind of like one-sided in a way, you know what I mean? It was like, all right, you know, Craig really couldn't keep up with losing his hand, and the side pressure was a little bit too much there. But when even in a tournament format, Beck was able to hold Setvon for a long time actually, and there were some questionable calls of like elbow foul. So Beck was already telling us, hey, if you get the opportunity, I would love to run that back, because I think I could take him, especially if I'm fresh. Right. So yeah, we saw, and especially that's why we kind of didn't want to just throw Setvon out there. We're like, all right, we need to have kind of let Beck prove himself, because he just lost to Ryan. Let's see if he can actually have another great match with somebody that could also pull him in the hook, right? Because if he can't even beat somebody in the hook, he's definitely not pulling Setvon with Sangon. So when he was able to beat Tom, that was super impressive for us.
Yeah. That is one thing I like about you guys. You're not so quick to pull the trigger. You kind of sit back and go, well, wait a minute. Let's just see what happens if A happens and B happens, you know, before you go ahead and make that match, and then people start confirming. So I like how you guys do that.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, and it's tough. We try to work with everyone's schedule too. Like, you know, everyone's not, there's so many promotions nowadays, which is great. But we just got to work with like, all right, you know, if you can't pull now, maybe we could throw this match in first, and we'll set that for January. So that's actually what we're doing now. On top of Knuckles Up 4, on top of the Arnold, we're already putting together the card for January for Knuckles Up 5. So
January.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have a date for that?
We're looking between January 18th and 25th. So like the middle to end of January.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we got that kind of circulating, and it's a huge milestone for us. It's the 5th one, you know, with High Five and everything. So we're trying to make it bigger than ever. So
High Five, Knuckles Up 5. You got to do something special for that one.
Exactly. Yeah, we're working on it. It's tough. There's a lot, but yeah.
With the size of your booth at the Arnold's, how many tables are you going to be able to run to get down through everything?
Yeah, so it's a 10 by 30. So we're thinking possibly starting off with just the 2. Like we already kind of started setting out the itinerary that we're going to be sending to the event organizer. But the way that we're thinking about it, right, is we'll have it in time blocks. So it's like, all right. And we also want to give an opportunity for the athletes that are coming. Like, you know, again, a lot of them are flying in on their own dime, and it's their first time at the Arnold. It would suck if the whole day was stuck at them sitting at the booth. And especially even like with the refs like yourself, like we want you guys to enjoy the opportunity of being at the Arnold. So what we planned is we'll already kind of give you guys an itinerary that will confirm getting closer to the event, and you'll know, all right, from this block to this block, that's 154 76s. All right, we'll have a short break. Next block is going to be 98s 220s, and then we'll have kind of a full day of arm wrestling.
Yeah. Cool. But I told you I would ref it. I will make myself available for that. So
appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, actually, Ward in the chat as well. Now we've been talking with them. We're trying to get like an even balance of refs from all over. So
I got a question for you, Chris, and this is important.
Yes, for sure.
Do you have room blocks set aside?
I was just going to say that. I was just going to ask that question.
Yep. So we're working on finalizing that. We already have reached out to numerous hotels in the area. What we're working on, I was talking to Ward about this as well, is it's tough to get one that's like right next door, because those fill up super quick and they're very expensive as well. So what we're planning to is possibly around like 15 minutes away in the Polaris area. It's a lot better than what we've experienced in the past, where Again, that was 15 minutes away as well, but it was kind of in the middle of nowhere. This one, it's kind of like in a huge like shopping kind of complex. So there's a bunch of stores and restaurants in that immediate area. And we were talking with, again, anyone that's working on the staff. You guys don't have to worry about like Ubering back and forth. We're working on setting up transportation for you guys. So we will be kind of shuttling you guys back and forth. So
that's awesome. I went to the Arnold in 2019, and like the host hotel, they had a shuttle that went from the hotel to the convention center, and I guess it would leave like every 15 to 20-minute increments and stuff. So that's pretty cool to have. So that's a lifesaver, trust me, because with all those athletes in Columbus, Ohio, I'm telling you, it gets a little crazy.
It is. You got to book 12 months in advance. Like, you got to book when you're checking out for the
honestly, it is.
I booked the Hampton Inn and Suites. I don't know how I got it, right across the street from the convention center.
Oh, that is awesome.
But then one year I phoned the Crown Plaza and I said, well, I'm with the Arnold Classic. And they gave me a room in the room block for.
That's awesome. Okay. Nice.
Didn't work the next year. They actually, like, because I guess that happened a few times and they started, like, they had a list of names at that point. So. It worked once.
Yeah, we're trying to, for us, like, again, it's tough, but there are rooms in the actual convention centers itself, like just right upstairs. That's really, really convenient. Again, the cost is higher. So, that's something that we will tell the athletes, like, if you have the funds and you have the opportunity to book it as soon as possible, we can't really beat that. But that's locked in by the Arnold itself. So we can't even block that ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Glad to hear it.
Yeah, it's just great. Arm wrestling's back at Arnold's for sure.
Yeah. We couldn't be more excited. Obviously, it's a lot of pressure. We want to make sure that we kind of bring it back bigger than ever and do our part. And that's kind of what we've been telling a lot of the organizers too. It's like, you guys handle working on the qualifiers. We'll promote it as hard as we can. But we're going to do everything we can with Joe Sandell and his team to just blow it up so that it's like we're already talking with the organizers at the Arnold. They're trying to, because essentially we're at like the corner of like when you first walk into the convention center, we're at a major walkway. So they're already trying to figure out how can we rework the walkway, because we know it's going to be so big so that it doesn't block the walking traffic. So, but yeah, it should be fun.
I will say this. I am so glad because, once upon a time, the Arnold used to be one of the most prestigious events you can go to. And now with you guys bringing it back, and you're also adding countries like Japan and Bulgaria, and parts of Europe and everything like that. That's going to make it that much more, intriguing to where, wow, I can actually go to Arnold and still it can feel like an international event. It can still feel like a world title to a certain degree because you got international pullers coming from over to compete. So I'm glad you guys get the chance to do that. And obviously, you get to add a left hand in there. That never hurts. So really, I'm glad you guys are doing that.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah. And it also helps us because from a pay-per-view perspective, we can do our best to try to put together like a story for people in the States or anyone that's coming up in these other countries. And it's tough, right? Because I think sometimes it becomes like a popularity contest versus like skill and actual, like, how good are you at arm wrestling? And that's why, we knew at the Arnold, similar to like bodybuilding, right? If you had won at the Arnold, it's almost like a no-brainer that you're going to be pulling at the Olympia, right? So same thing for like arm wrestling. You get that Arnold title, it's like, oh no, you're at the international level, especially when we bring over these international athletes, right? And that's why, again, it helps kind of, you can watch the path of these arm wrestlers come from all over, and they're like, oh wow, I remember seeing him at the Arnold place first place, and that's why I see him on like a pay-per-view later on. Giving people
I still kept my room key from the Arnold from the hotel as a souvenir. So
that's awesome.
Hope I'm invited back.
Here's a question.
Of course.
Jody, remember you were talking about this the other day. Remember how people were talking about they had an exemption because they won an Arnold before?
Yes.
Are you guys honoring any of that stuff? Because to me, like, it doesn't like what I was saying is if you won 5 years ago, I don't feel like it gives you an exemption into now.
Yeah, so I was actually watching that same podcast, and it did bring up a great point. Actually, watching your podcast actually helped us think about like things and troubleshoot. Like, oh wow, that even when you guys talk about different rule sets and stuff like that. So, but yeah, sorry to answer your question. We thought about it. it's tough, right? So it's a completely different organization. So for us to go through and like I tried it. I tried to go through and comb through who had won at what year and like whatever archive. And then it becomes this situation of like, all right, what were the circumstances of them winning that? Like, for example, if Marcio had won, but he had beat like Don Underwood and whoever, that's a huge accomplishment. But then in these recent years, if the only people that were pulling were like, no offense to the other pullers, but the bigger names were Marcio and Pablo, but it wasn't as stacked as it used to be. So I don't want to say that, all right, somebody that had pulled and won it 20 years ago is the same weight as somebody that just won it last year. So we kind of just said, you know what, instead of trying to rank and stack people and try to give out credit, it's like across the board, just a fresh start. Even the people that had qualified last year, right, and they weren't able to go, it's going to be difficult for me to now go and see, all right, who qualified and who do I trust in terms of that information. So, and it would take away from the people that qualify now.
Yeah. And last year there was no real, like the qualifiers were kind of loose. Like you would, like the Canadian Nationals, for example, was a qualifier. And some people don't even know that. But you could have went there and qualified for the Arnolds.
I mean, the one I didn't hit in Oklahoma last year, I mean, for supers especially, and like 220s and even for 76, there was a lot. I mean, you had Austin Tevis came and qualified, Myrtla, Robbie Burnett, Anthony qualified. Like, you had a lot of really good people that went and qualified at Hinton. So,
Yep.
But even with that, like you said, it's a different organization. It's under a different organizer now. So you kind of have to do it your way instead of the old way.
Yeah, as much as we'd like to. Yeah.
Well, you guys got any other stuff for the Arnold Classic, or are we going to move on to some other things?
I'm just happy it's back, and I'm really looking forward to it. Next year it's going to be great.
Yeah, we appreciate.
I would say the perks, because and I keep hating go back in time with the Arnold, but one of the things that Arnold would have, like those Letterman jackets that you first play, that would make me want to go. I'm like, oh, I want one of those Arnold, those Letterman jackets, And I know with you guys, it's starting new, it's starting fresh. I would imagine there's some perks to go with that. So aside from if you win your class, hey, there's a spot for you at a Knuckles Up, down the road. What other perks do you guys have for that?
Great question. Again, we're trying to gauge it based on like how many people actually end up going and wanting to compete at this thing. And obviously with the qualifiers, that also helps get us a better indication of that. But we're working on essentially solidifying the payouts, right? That's one perk aside from the qualification for Knuckles Up. And then another one, we actually are, we do watch. So I saw that you had mentioned that, and that is something that we are trying to put together. If all things go well, we actually have a vendor that can put together essentially custom Leatherman jackets. Again, we'd probably have like whatever sizes we could bring there, and then we'd ship them out afterwards. But again, we're playing with ideas like that.
I think a sick Arnold trophy would be pretty awesome for the winner.
Yep, that's a great idea as well. Yeah,
like the same one they give away at the Arnold Classic bodybuilding competition.
Yeah, something like that.
Or something maybe a smaller scale.
Yeah,
smaller scale. But something like that. I mean, because Arnold's coming back is such a big deal. I mean, the Leatherman jacket's awesome, but like a sick trophy to be like, yes, this is.
Oh, that might be better than the gorilla in Michigan State.
Oh, that's pretty cool too, honestly.
Something like that. I think would be just like the icing on the cake, especially showing like the new Arnold, Arnold Classic regime for arm wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then we're trying to throw.
That just says T5.
Yeah. Yeah, we're actually trying to throw in stuff for even if you don't win, just like participating in it, like differences from before. So again, I'm not talking bad about who hosted it before, but we're just trying to give more back to make them feel like professional athletes, like Ryan had experienced, right? So we're going to be, that's why our cutoff is December, because we're trying to throw in extra things for them. So it's like, all right, you're going to get a personalized jersey, same quality that we'd use at a Knuckles Up. We're going to try to get, like, again, with our sponsors, try to see what we can throw in for all of our athletes, things of that nature. So when you go in there, it's like, oh, wow, like I didn't just throw on whatever shirt I had. It's like, I'm coming in like a legitimate athlete, and you're going to look like any other like sport that's in there.
Yeah, that's interesting, because there's, in previous years there was a financial commitment up front, like when you filed to compete.
Mhm.
That's a yeah.
That you paid, and you had it. I believe you got it back when you got there, but it was like an
Mm.
insurance just to make sure that you would come and do it.
Interesting.
But I mean,
Okay.
we're talking about the first time I was at the Arnold's was 2001.
Mm-hmm.
The first
I
year
think
they
that's
let
smart.
Canadians in.
I think that's smart though, Ryan, right? Like to hold your spot, like to show a commitment that you're going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. So all we're essentially doing is a deposit, or not a deposit, like an entry fee. I mean, so it's like, all right, like think of it like any other tournament. It's like, all right, here's the entry fee for you to compete, and then those are the funds that we're essentially going to be using to like purchase whatever is related for that specific athlete.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Because we even there's other stuff we got to pay for, the wristbands, the obviously the booth itself. So like nothing's free over there. So, but again, it's cool. Like I don't think a lot of people realize when you compete as an athlete at the Arnold, you get like your wristband, which has more power than like any VIP ticket you could buy. Like you're going in there, you're coming in earlier, your access to all the different days, like
And
it's
they had so many problems with people like trying to get extra wristbands and giving them away and sneaking their friend. Just don't abuse it, because it's something special to have that. You can
exactly
sneak in there half an hour early and have a conversation with Lou Ferrigno, like it's you know.
So Chris, have you guys laid down like how much it's going to be for your entry fee into the Arnold?
Yeah. So we're looking at it's going to be like, because I think previously it was around like 75. We're looking closer to like 100.
Okay.
Like $100 is like the flat fee, and then because we're doing both arms, it's not going to be 200. It'll be like 150 if you throw in both. Something like
Gotcha. So if you qualify for both, though, it's not like, oh, you didn't qualify, so
that. Exactly. Oh, that's awesome. Like,
This is still my room key.
that's it.
Jody's laughing.
baby.
They
I'm
think
surprised.
he's still in there, and they've been billing him ever since.
I'm surprised he doesn't have it in like one of those plastic collector cases sitting up on a shelf
Like
somewhere.
laminated.
Good.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, that room has been occupied.
I don't want that bill. I think it's though, but like going back to it though, being able to include the left hand now and
Mhm.
making the Arnolds now essentially all inclusive to all arm wrestlers instead of leaving out a group that are left hand dominant is great. I mean, I think that just speaks, wonders about what you guys are doing for the sport. So
No, I appreciate it. Yeah.
And you guys were doing some stuff like so you don't necessarily have the flood of elite athletes in the tournament, but I got to tell you, man, I have always wanted to win the Arnold Classic.
Awesome.
And that's kind of what I'm going to be working towards, especially with the left arm class. I mean, right's going to be super hard at this point in my career, but with the setbacks. But I mean, the highest I ever got there was a second place.
Really? Who was in that?
Well, first place, Don Underwood.
Oh, all right.
Second place, myself. Third place, Devin Larrett.
All right. Well, that's not bad company. Yeah. Jesus. Yeah. Actually, Don's we're talking with him soon. He's stopping by New Jersey, so we're gonna have a practice with him. What do you call it? July 7th, like 5 to 8. So it's gonna be pretty cool. We're gonna start putting out posts for that as well. But you might end up seeing him at the Arnold, so we'll see.
I'll see
I
Don.
can't wait to get my hands on him again.
Don and I are doing the seminar for the Marines in
Oh,
North Carolina because I'm a disabled vet and Don's a vet as well.
Oh,
So
wow.
we're doing the seminar for the Marines on Camp Lejeune with Greg. So
Wow. Thanks for your service. Yeah, no, I always give credit to you guys. I was just a mechanic in the Air Force, so you guys did the hard work. I'm out here just making sure the planes fly. So
Chris, just to let you know, when I put this up here a second ago, so this right here, for people who don't understand how crowded, when you get to the convention center, that line wraps around the entire corner. And when you have this thing right here, you can cut in front of everybody. Just so you guys know, it's for guys in the chat that have never been there before, and anybody watching the show. When I say there's tons of athletes, there are tons of athletes there. And this card kind of got me to cut in front of the line of the fans who want to be a part of it. Now, another reason why I'm glad that it's coming back is because we as arm wrestlers, we're in awe of the people doing CrossFit, strongman, bodybuilding, powerlifting, whatever. However, when the athletes such as ourselves are on the stage competing, it's always good to see other athletes in other sports, come check us out. I can't tell you how good that made me feel. Like, wow, I mean, there was one time, I'm watching Branch Warren walk down, was kind of going, just kind of checking it out. It was kind of cool when you see that kind of stuff, So, it's always cool to have Randy Couture walking down there and checking us out, and Arnold with his flock of security and stuff. It is kind of cool to see that. So I'm glad it's coming back. So,
yeah, we're hoping. I mean, again, the fingers crossed. I can't make any promises, but last year when Will's fiance Steph ran the animal booth, they won booth of the year, and Arnold actually stopped by. So our hope is, hey, if all works out, we might see a guest appearance.
The way they used to do the Arnolds way back in the day, like we're talking AAA, and then early in the days of Leonard and Denise doing it, you actually got part of your package was the VIP meet with Arnold. Like you went and got the picture with him. So, but then the one year I was there, they didn't have that, and everyone's like, they don't have it anymore. But Arnold walked right on stage, and we got to shake his hand, and
oh, that's sick.
But then Stallone came out, and he came on stage.
Everyone just lost their shit. Yeah.
Yeah, he presented the awards.
Wow.
So that was pretty wild.
Yeah, definitely goals. I don't know if I'm gonna have Sly come over.
Well, it was just a fluke thing. He all of a sudden he was watching the arm wrestling, and then all of a sudden he's giving out the awards.
That's so cool.
Had an over-the-top flashback.
Yeah, right. Literally, that's so awesome. Yeah, no. Again, I don't know if we're doing all that. I wish. Hopefully, maybe by like Knuckles up 10, we'll have it. But yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's been good. Where do you guys want to go from here? I got a question from Jody from Dan about Jody and I. Are you lefties in real life as well? Dan, no, I'm right-handed. I do everything right-handed. I even golf right-handed.
I'm ambidextrous, right hand by trade, but if it's like football, left-handed, baseball, left-handed, eat left-handed, I right-handed. I just got a better connection on the left for whatever reason. So
I can shoot a gun and a bow left-handed. That's about as far as I go.
See?
Yeah.
Can't do anything on my left.
Otherwise, this thing's just over here.
Same.
Jody, is it time
for
your soapbox?
Soapbox? Oh God. Okay, so Chris, welcome to the first ever soapbox that you're going to be a part of. So
cool.
Here's the thing. First of all, so Ryan, the card you're going to be on in Canada, and you're pulling Heather Morris, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Is it true that I saw RVJ's picture on the poster?
Yeah, he's supposed to pull, I think, Alan Ford.
Is he going to pull, or is this just like,
I have no reason to believe that he is not going to honor that commitment.
So here, the only reason why I said that is because, and this is no shade on him, but I gotta get this point across. So a match I was looking forward to at the Challenger Series never happened because RVJ pulled out against Jerome Loud.
Too many of us thought that Jerome was going to win.
Well, two things from that. Two things. One, how did RVJ pull out of that match because of whatever, but then he's going to pull in this one? Who knows? Only he knows why. But here's my issue. You get somebody like Jerome Loud, who should probably be on, Knuckles Up at some point.
We have been talking.
You get somebody like Jerome Loud on there. How in the world does he not get a replacement match? It was almost like they kicked him to the curb. I'm like, are you serious? You got one of the more quieter guys because he doesn't have a huge, social media following. I mean, I follow him on, Instagram and stuff and Facebook, but it's like that guy is so good. And for him not to have a replacement is a tragedy to me. That
he's too
what's
dangerous.
going on? What the hell?
A lot. I don't know if many guys that would want to pull him on short notice.
I have a question, Jody.
Yeah.
Do you think that? Sorry, I'm getting a glass of tea.
The
Do
blind.
you think?
The voice from above.
Hey, sweet tea is life. Leave me alone. Do you think the reason Jerome didn't get a second match is because the way Andre did him at the qualifier finals?
Interesting.
Okay, I mean, this is a sport where
No, I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying, do you think that played any part into why Jerome didn't receive a backup match after the
I hope
RBJ
not.
dropout.
I hope
I'm
not,
just
because we can sit there for argument's sake. And when I say this, guys, at the 44-minute mark, this is not me crapping on people. I'm just trying to make your point. Dave Chafee, the last couple of matches we've seen him, has he won?
No, he
You see
hasn't.
what I'm saying? But he gets called back, rightfully so.
but
Don't you know what I'm saying?
but
You're putting those guys in the same category.
that's
No,
what I was
yeah,
getting ready to say.
No, my point being is that if I'm reading you right, Nathan, you're saying because the way he got beaten. Okay, fine, But okay, I'll use a better example. Does that take away from the way Jerome beat Chance that day? You see what I'm saying? Like,
But here's where Ryan's argument was too. The name then plays a bigger role in somebody getting a match than a performance.
because we all take losses. Heck, I mean, I remember when RVJ went 6-0 to Sasho at Arm Wars. Ryan, I think you were there that day.
I was.
He still got, he still got opportunities. Just because someone lost doesn't mean that, okay, let's just go ahead and kind of kick him to the curb because maybe he had a bad day. We all have had bad days before on the table. All of us on the screen, some way, somehow have had a bad day. It doesn't mean that, you get kicked in the line. That's just too much talent for him not, just not to get anything. And I feel bad for Jerome in that part. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I do think Jerome deserves an opportunity.
I have a theory about that, though. It's the body of work. Like, Jerome has moments, but he doesn't have a long career of accolades, similar to Dave Chafee or RVJ for that matter.
Right.
But he's coming up, and you know what? I think a lot of people are scared of him.
Well, to what you said, longevity or accolades, this might have been a perfect stage for him.
Yeah.
Everybody was watching, and then here we go. So now you're left to wonder when are we going to see Jerome again?
Do you think it could be? Do you think it could be Jerome's inconsistency? And by that I mean like he'll look amazing against a guy this month, and then the next month he'll lose to somebody he shouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have the most consistent record of like going on a dominating streak. Like he'll have a big win on somebody, but then he'll,
we're talking about Sharkovich, right? Was his last loss?
Yeah.
He seems to just be.
Yeah, he's on another level right now. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. I wasn't referring to that, but I'm talking in general. Like if you look through Jerome's career, like he'll have these moments of like beating Tullier, beating Mosier, and then he'll have then he'll just disappear for a while. You don't see him. And then he'll come back and he'll beat somebody, then he'll disappear for 5-6 months. And then I think that could be playing a little bit of a role into maybe why.
Probably. I mean, I know the guy works a lot, so man, from that you can't really fault a guy for that. But
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying just what I mean, like.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. We've also seen people take matches last minute though too, like hey, so and so camped out. Can you step in here? Oh, we've seen Georgie in the past. Not comparing Georgie to Jerome Loud, but we've seen Georgie take a match last minute. You mean nobody wanted to take that match to say, hey, opportunity knocking,
Herman Stevens did it against Schoolboy, East versus West 1.
Yeah, see, there you go. Opportunity right there,
Yeah, and the conspiracy theorist of me also is curious because again, it's a tournament format, and that, if I remember correctly, was leading up to his match with RVJ. Do you think that Jerome also felt like, all right, do I really want to go super hard against, like, because I think they had pulled at like in Florida not too long before that, or maybe like the year before against Shark and Jerome, and that was a long match, and that I think Andre had still won, but it wasn't as easy. And do you think he's like, do I want to have this long dragon match, risk injury, and then ruin my opportunity against RVJ? I don't know. Again, it's hard to tell.
I thought RVJ retired. I thought he came out with that YouTube video saying he was done, and now he's.
That's true.
We gotta acknowledge Dan Plexman's super chat. Thank you, Dan. But that's an interesting point. Did he retire from YouTube or did he retire from arm wrestling?
I thought he was taking a break from YouTube, honestly.
Same, yeah.
But at the same time, you're going to go to this Canadian event. Alan Ford, cool, I get that. But then you slap people like Jerome out in the face, like, okay, I'm not going to do this now. It's kind of like, wow, dude, that's kind of messed up. But to each his own,
I take nothing away from Alan, but I don't think Alan's just a much smaller human being than Rob. Like, what are they? I don't like.
You mean musculature wise? Because I think Alan's actually a bigger frame guy than Rob.
Rob is definitely a larger human being, probably by what? Rob probably walks around, 230? At least?
Yeah, I think Alan's going to be right there with him. And this is actually a rematch from UAL 9.
Mike Gould Classic, the last one, right?
Yeah, the last one.
They were both skinny back then, but
Yeah, it was a good match. And that match happened in the super match format because Alan had beat Rob at a tournament previous to that. So there was something to prove there from both guys.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Alan Ford that I saw at the MAC event that pulled El Cesar, and then the RVJ that I saw pull Brandon Allen are very different human beings. Like RVJ looks stout right now. So I don't know. We'll see.
Interesting. Hey, Pain Plant Arm Wrestling is in the house. Did you see my videos of those handles he sent me?
No.
That's where you've been getting that from. Yeah, those are pretty cool. Yeah.
We got some shorts, and he's giving me some other versions of those to do some stuff. So check it out. Go follow that channel too.
Nice. Well,
were we done talking about this, or are we done talking about the Canadian Nationals?
Hey, you guys have a strap of the Canadian Nationals? I want, Ryan. So you can steal me one. I'd appreciate it.
Steal a strap?
Yeah,
do that in Canada. That's not something we do.
Okay, sorry. Acquire me one.
Wait, you guys don't steal in Canada?
No,
they acquire.
There's no crime here.
Fine. Can you acquire me one?
Maybe I would be able to barter for one of those straps.
Yeah. It's one with the Canadian flag on it.
To trade 3 beaver pelts for 1 strap.
I'll buy somebody a beer. I hear that's big in Canada. So
that's big everywhere.
Yeah.
Texas gives us a run for our money. So you were wondering, Jody, you had asked me the question. You got multiple soapboxes, so I know you're not done. But you'd asked me how we're going to get done those nationals within 2 days. Many tables, many refs, long days.
How many tables you guys plan on running? Like 6 or 7?
Probably 5, maybe 6.
Huge.
I know you'll be reffing. Earl Wilson will probably step in and ref.
I'm sure Earl will be reffing.
What's that?
Dave Knox is the referee in chief.
Okay.
So he's the guy that organizes all the referees for that event. I really don't know. Rick Pinkney will be there reffing, I'm sure. Interestingly, a little tidbit of information for you, because the CAWF is a neutral organization from the 2 world bodies. We asked the referees to not wear logos on their shirts that would indicate they are a WAF or an IFA referee.
Do they gotta wear a fucking paper sack on their head? Don't get me started on this, man.
Just a referee shirt, Jody. We're not. We're just taking the WAF thing off or the IFA thing off.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's great. I honestly there's nothing wrong with referees from different organizations reffing together as long as nobody's wearing, you know what I mean?
The issue, I think it's more of an issue from the WAF refs refereeing with someone wearing an IFA shirt.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There's obvious reasons for that, and it's not necessarily their personal issue. It's that there might be consequences to being seen as refereeing with an IFA person.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying. If you just don't have an insignia on your shirt, then it's no harm, no foul, right?
Calm down, Jody. Calm down. Breathe.
Man, you want me to go off or not? I'm so sick of this.
Jody, do this.
It's Transformers, GoBots, Avengers, DC, WAF,
Oh,
IFA.
GoBots?
I swear to God, man.
Who prefers GoBots over Transformers?
Yeah, I know,
saying,
right?
You
It's
know,
like the kid
it's
crying on Christmas morning because he got a GoBot.
WWE, WCW. Look, man, I didn't said this because the post came out yesterday and I was tagged in it. And you know, I sat there and made. I'm sorry, Nathan. I'm sorry.
That okay. First off, I just want to say something, Jody. Everybody knows that knows, like, if you go pull an IFA Worlds, you are banned. You're not. I don't want to say you're banned. You are not allowed
Not
to
in
pull.
good standing.
Yeah, you're not in good standing with WAFs. You cannot pull their WAF. You can't pull USAF Nationals or WAF Worlds. Like, that's been known since the two split. So I don't know what that person's like. Well, I didn't know. Like, don't give me that crap. I feel like sometimes people just go online to do that stuff so they can make a stink on the internet and get a freaking post and a look and somebody going, "Oh, woe is me." Like,
You can
come
still
on.
do it. You just have to write the letter.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like sometimes people just reach out to be like, "Oh, look, I inquired about this and I'm not in good standing." It's like, we've known that for 8 years now.
Well, let's
Like,
look
it's not
at
new
Camille.
news.
Camille Jablonski. He was the
Mhm.
IFA champion.
Mhm.
Now he pulls in WAF affiliated events.
Mhm.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, to those that aren't, going to write the letter to be in good standing, like, everybody who's anybody knows that if you go to an IFA World, you're not in good standing with WAP. Like, it's common. Everybody knows this, is what I'm saying. Like,
Mhm.
like I said, bring back to my point. Like, I feel like people go online to, like, make these posts to be like, "Oh, look, I'm getting a view." Like, come on.
Well, there are
Just
those
start.
rules. There's lots of rules like that. Like, as we approach the nationals, we put a rule in place last year that, within 2 weeks of our national championships, we needed the competitors list from each province.
Mhm.
And all buys must be granted by then. Well, of course, there's still people that say, "Hey, can I compete? I didn't get a buy from my province." Well, the answer is no. The rule is out there. The rule is clearly communicated.
Mhm.
I mean, people sometimes, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they do not know these things,
Mhm.
but I will also
No, that's a
criticize them for
rock.
not trying very hard to find out.
with
Fair.
with the IFA WAF thing, right? I give people zero benefit of the doubt because it's all over social media, no matter where you freaking look, right? Like,
You're a very harsh individual.
yeah, on this one, I am going to be, because, like, you can literally go on anybody's freaking page and be like, "Oh, this," like, duh, like,
Mhm.
come on. It's
Here,
just
here it is in a nutshell. 2024, we are at a point where there's a lot of organizations out there. So that means it caters to a lot more people, right? Where, hey, your path may not be the same as my path, but I respect it either way, right? That's all I'm saying. It's just when you start not in good standing and all that bullshit, and I can cuss now because we're 57 minutes in. So when you start doing all that garbage, then it's like you're just hurting the athletes. And
But
I
are
sat there
you?
on my post of all the sacrifices we make, blood, sweat, tears, and all that kind of stuff, to sit
But
there and have somebody try to ban me.
here's
Bull.
my question, Jody. Are you hurting the athlete, though, by having multiple organizations such as the High Five running tournaments, WAF, IFA, all these organizations? Are they really hurting because you can't go to one nationals or one worlds? Not really. No, you're not hurting them at all. Like, you have another option. It's not like in certain countries where IFA isn't recognized and you can only do WAF. So, I mean, you're there. Like, if you have only one organization, then yeah, you're possibly hurting the athlete. But if you have multiple organizations that you can compete for, if you can, USAF, I mean, only holds one tournament a year, and that's the USAF Nationals. That's it.
Right.
So if you're not in good standing with them, you're missing one tournament a year. So
Oh,
is that
and
really hurt?
I
Is
don't-
it really hurting an athlete?
No, but I mean, like, as far as people getting banned, I think it's stupid.
I
Because
get-
other countries across the pond are actually going through that with their organizations, which we have no affiliate to, which is fine. But I'm just saying, I'm glad we have all these outlets for us to go, because 10, 12 years ago we didn't have that, and now that we do, it's like, hey, I want to be part of this league, I want to be a part of that organization, or what have you. But when you start doing that kind of stuff, well, you can't compete here, I'm like, how the fuck are you gonna tell me I can't represent my own country?
Well, the only ones that say that is WAF, right? If you pull an EFO Worlds, you can't do a WAF Worlds unless you write the letter to get back in good standing. You can go pull a WAF Worlds and go pull EFO Worlds the next year, and nothing's going to happen to you. EFO's not going to tell you can't. It's only the vice versa. So,
Fuck a letter. That's what I say. Fuck a letter.
well, I mean, I get what you're
That could be a
saying, but at the
meme,
same
I don't
time, it's like, so look at it this way, right? I look at it. Here's a good way to look at it. You own a restaurant, and I own a restaurant right next to you.
Mhm.
Do you want me pulling customers from your restaurant to come to my restaurant? Hell no. You want to keep them all for yourself. It's that simple. It's basic, business economics. I want more than you, so I want to be able to keep my athletes and you not get my athletes. That way, I'm getting more.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you said to the people coming in, if you go eat at his restaurant, you can't come back to mine. Well, you'd probably be out of business.
Yeah. Well, that's when you start making up stories about the other restaurant, like they're serving horse meat or something.
Like Jody doesn't wash his hands before he cooks you food.
Yeah.
Right.
None of his staff none of the staff wash their hands. They're all salmonella everywhere.
Yeah. So that was not the main rant. It was more of it happened last week on the show when we were talking about stop slapping labels on every tournament. Like not every tournament needs to be a fucking East First West qualifier. That's all I was saying. It's stupid because we're talking national.
Yeah.
Because
I was talking to another.
It'd be like this, Chris. It'd be like if someone decided to, hey, it's the Arnold. We're gonna go ahead and make it an East First West qualifier. Also, stop that. Stop it.
That I agree with.
Enough with that. I don't. If you got to have an East First West qualifier label for your event, what are we doing? It stands on its own. A national should stand on its own. That's all I'm saying.
What was the point I made last week? National USAF Nationals 2 years ago had 151 entries.
Sad.
I mean,
Yeah, I think that's going to change. The reason I think it will change is not because everyone's all excited about, that particular national championship. I think it's changing because they're now loosely affiliated with East versus West.
You want to know why, Nathan? They only got 150 whatever. It's because they don't promote it.
Well, that too, and a lot of people aren't going to go to. What's the politically correct way to put this? A lot of people from the United States will not go to something like a nationals like that because it's a tested event.
Well, tested or not,
they tested the nationals.
I didn't know that. Yeah,
I did not know that.
They can test at nationals. Yeah, you can draw
They
wrong.
can. We can too in Canada, but we don't because it's cost prohibitive.
Yeah, and a lot of people won't go to Worlds because it's tested. So
fair, but I mean, let's face it: the World's teams from Canada and the United States to WAF previous to this were not huge anyway.
No.
So we're talking about a couple of dozen guys, maybe, on the best years.
Yeah, and then the best performances we've had in the last decade have been you and what's her name from America? Why can I not think of her name?
Well,
She got third. Cody. What's her name? Got third. Jesus, I know her name. Jesus, sorry, I'm drawing a blank on her. She's really good. I wish I'd have saw her in the round robin actually, because I think she would have won it. But
who, Nadia?
No. Hold on, I'll get my iPad. I can tell you who it was.
All I'm saying is that for us, we have these group chats about with nationals. How the fuck are you supposed to promote it or try to even create a Team USA when everything's behind a group chat? If it wasn't for the guys in charge of the East versus West qualifiers in the Northeast, you probably wouldn't know more about it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Lee Aaron?
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. No? That's what Dan is saying.
No. I'm talking about at WAF World. She got
WAF.
third at WAF World. Yeah.
I do not know.
Angela Matthews.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's see?
Angela's a beast.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say it because I'm not a fan of what they're doing, but I still think WAF is the hardest tournament in the world to win.
And I agree.
True. Mm-hmm.
It is the level of competition is amazing, and I don't think you're going to see that change anytime soon. Maybe over time, people will gravitate to the other, but there's lots of things that will keep the European countries going WAF. It's just not going to change. It isn't. Yeah.
With it being, a state-sponsored event, a sport in a lot of those countries like Latvia, Kazakhstan, like those guys are still going to go to Worlds because if they win, they get a significant amount of money.
And then you have, I was talking we have the potential of the WAF Worlds coming to Canada in a couple of years.
Cool.
So we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully I'm not banned by then.
There's that word again. Oh, man.
I don't think it will be. I do, when I get approached by somebody, though, because of Canadians, of course, we are non-partisan. We, you can go to one or you can go to the other. And people ask me, which one should I go to? And I say, you should go to both if you want to experience both, but go to WAF first. Yeah. And then go to IFA. And I was talking to a gentleman who's also part of the board of the CAWF, and he said, well, I could tell him the other way. I say, go try to win an IFA Worlds and then go try to win a WAF Worlds. I said, well, then that's difficult because you got to do the letter and all that stuff. But
yeah. Subject change. Jody, was that the most entries you've had at your tournament so far?
182?
Yeah.
I think we had 180 the first one.
Okay. So this is the biggest one you've had then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Jody, you want to close us off by talking a little bit about your event?
Yes. Took place over the weekend, the 4th annual LLD Foundation Tournament. It's a fundraiser for our son, and 182 entries on a very, very hot day. We were on the stage with the covering and everything. Of course, Oregon was there, a few Washington. We had a big Idaho contention that came down. We even had a couple guys, one from Ukraine, one from Georgian, rolled in here and dominated. So that was pretty awesome. They actually live here in the States now. Both of them, one in Washington, one in Portland area. So that was pretty good. It's getting bigger by the year. I'm in talks with somebody because they want to know if they can come last minute, but the ticket prices for airfare is a little bit on the high side. So I told them once I get a hold of the guy from the venue, I'm going to get on the horn and go, bro, can you come out there? Because he really wants to. I'm going to kind of let that lie until I get some confirmation, that kind of stuff, because when he comes, there'll be some more people that want to come. So
cool.
Just to pull him.
Anything else you guys want to throw out there before we sign
Chris,
off?
you guys going to be in AC for Greg's event?
When is that again? That's the World Series of Arm Wrestling, right?
Yeah, it's the first weekend in August.
In August. I have to check. We might be able to. Or I think we also were thinking about going to the Sarah Backman Classic, which I think might be the same weekend in Florida.
Is it?
Is that first or is that the second week of August? I can't forget.
Second week of August.
You guys are always welcome to come up to Gatineau this weekend.
Oh, that'd be sick.
The Nationals.
Yeah, actually, that's the reason why we can't go to. I think because the U.S. Nationals too, the ones that we were just talking about, the unified one. I think that's also this weekend, and I can't make it. We have a vacation with my wife, but yeah, we'd love to. That'd be sick. Again, we're
that's only certainly important.
Yeah, we're planning.
Yeah, it is the same weekend, August 3rd.
It is.
Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah,
down in Florida.
So is Scott McGinnis done with filming Nationals now, or what?
This is his last time.
Okay.
This one, yeah, and then we have to find someone else to do that, unless we can convince Scott to change his mind for another year.
Any predictions on who wins Nationals this year, Ron?
Oh, which class?
I don't know. Pick a class.
I think John's a Therian.
Hey?
John Therian?
Oh, well, John will definitely be a contender.
Oh, John, isn't he like one of the favorites?
Whichever class he's in, yeah, like 176 or 187.
I don't see. I mean, didn't he just pull an event at two? He just pulled at 209 against Robbie Karstendijk. You think he's going to cut to 76 in 2 weeks?
It's not impossible, Nathan.
Well, no, but I mean, that's a good way to deplete yourself.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a prediction because honestly, I've been so busy putting together everything else and just getting ready for the Hall of Fame inductions.
You're not pulling?
I'm not pulling, no.
Oh, well, there goes that.
Yeah, but Nathan, you also got to realize, Ryan's a ref, so he really can't sit there and make predictions either.
Why
Yeah,
can't
this
you?
is
Because you
true.
never know what table you're going to be on.
Well, that's the problem. The one I could be on the table that I just predicted the guy to win. And
No, I'm just saying, like, who do you think the favorites are in, like, let's say supers?
Supers is wide open, man, because I mean,
I wasn't asking you to pick a winner. I'm just like, who are the favorites going into it? I should say.
it all depends where Pork Chop's pulling.
That's another
Or
one.
Rick
Yeah.
Heidelberg, like if he shows up.
Oh yeah.
But then you could also have a complete mix-up because I think Rick is in Masters now. Earl Wilson and Mike Gould could be pulling in Masters or Grandmasters.
Those guys are
Man,
rough.
it's a tough one to call.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be every bit as entertaining to watch the Masters and Grandmasters as it is to watch the senior classes.
Especially if Gould and Heidelberg and all them are pulling it. Yeah.
I was just about to say, yeah, those are some big names, man. Big dudes too. Yeah.
Don't sleep on the Masters, people. Never.
If Pork Chop pulls supers in the open day, he might be the favorite.
Left-handed or right too?
Both.
Really? Wow.
I mean, there are some guys in there that have been like calling people out. Like there's a gigantic kid from Nova Scotia that's coming out that actually just challenged me to a super match, like a month ago. And I had a commitment already. And
is Crazy George competing?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I
Now,
look at the Ontario list.
If he does he pull Masters or does he pull or Senior or Ultra or whatever? Or does he pull Open?
Sometimes he does it all.
Really? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Hey,
More power to him.
I know he's been training a little bit. Like there was just some footage of him with Patrina Brooks doing some arm wrestling.
That's not a person you want to draw first round.
Yeah.
No. If you don't pin him on right off the go, then you might as well lay your arm down because you're just going to kill yourself for the rest of the tournament.
He's like Spetan. Like that's
Yeah.
a great.
He's the king. He's the originator. George is the original King's Move guy.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna ask. Because I mean, again, a lot of people have been asking for a Crazy George match, and I'm like, does this guy really stay as active? And
They
like,
don't
how do
want
I
a
even
Crazy
gauge?
George match. I don't care. They don't want it.
Yeah.
If Svetan and George pulled, you might as well block off about 12 hours of TV time.
Is it like when
Pat McKinnon, that's the guy.
Is it like when the two Swedish girls pulled and they were stuck in the table for like in their super hour on super match?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Catalina and them, they're literally just sitting here like this.
Well, don't forget, from the ladies, depending on how the brackets line up, it's safe to say it's going to be a Sarah Wilson, Jocelyn Brisson final. Yes.
Oh, really? Who else?
Heidi Corder's in
Heidi's
there.
in the mix. So,
Oh yeah.
tournament arm wrestling, anything can happen.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's say Sarah and Jocelyn run into each other early. Heidi's on the other side of the draw. Like you never know what might happen there.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, I saw Jocelyn compete at that MAC event too, man. She is a beast. Like
315 bench press.
that is insane. Like,
She's supposed to. I know she's been offered a match at the second Challenger Series, but
oh, nice.
no
Yeah,
opponent's been announced yet for her.
Yeah, we were talking to her too, man. I just trying to find somebody for her to pull is the issue. Like she's just so strong. Like
I know she was offered Malin Kleinschmidt at the East vs. West event in Orlando,
sweet.
but she has a vacation, so she's not taking the match.
Gotcha.
And Malin's no joke. Malin's a beast of a woman.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. I just posted. Peyton Pickering will win a national. There you go. She'll win.
That's your prediction?
That is a very possible, very likely thing that will happen.
Put it in the bank. I said it.
Anyway, guys, I got to run. I got realtors calling me, and they need to talk. Time
Yes.
to go make
Hey.
$1 million.
Chris, William,
Yep.
thanks for joining on the show. Nathan, my friend, we're going to see you real soon.
Couple weeks.
But, a couple weeks.
Don't worry. If you don't beat Jamie right-handed, I will.
There you go. There you go. And that's the funny part because we're still pulling left, but no one talks about that. The left gets no love. My God.
I think Jamie and I have finalized it. We are pulling at the seminar for the Marines. So
there you go.
Sick.
Well, I'll do you guys a favor. I'm gonna go through all my pics I posted from Facebook back in 2019, Arnold, and I'm gonna repost them just to kind of get it out there.
Nice. Appreciate it. Thank you.
For that.
The right's starting to get there. It's close.
There you go.
Cool.
All right,
Elliot. It was a pleasure. Thank you guys for having us.
See you next week.
Thanks everyone in the chat. We'll see you guys next week.
Take care.